Important alert. Your ex was crying yesterday because they are. Important alert. Yesterday the night carried a sound you never expected, the sound of someone who once claimed your heart breaking down in tears. Yes, your ex was crying, not because of the past, not because of old fights, but because something inside them could no longer hold the weight of silence. They thought they could move on, they thought distance would erase your name, but the truth is different. The truth is, your absence burns more loudly than your presence ever did. And yesterday, their tears told the story their lips could not. Imagine them sitting in a quiet room, surrounded by memories that keep echoing like shadows against the walls. They held their phone, they scrolled through your name, their hand almost typed, almost called, almost confessed, but fear choked their courage. Their tears became their only words. They cried because they know what they lost cannot be replaced. They cried because every smile you gave them has now turned into an ache they cannot heal. And here's what no one will tell you: when someone cries for you, it is not weakness, it is a confession their pride could never allow before. They are haunted by the way you once looked at them, by the sound of your laughter, by the promises they thought would last forever. They pretended they were fine, they pretended they were strong, but yesterday broke the wall. Their tears betrayed the truth: they miss you in ways they cannot admit. Stay with me, because this is the part where your heart must listen carefully. They were not crying out of regret alone, they were crying because life showed them mirrors they could not escape. Every choice they made led them away from you, but every road they take circles back to your memory. They see your reflection in every moment of happiness that doesn't last, in every love that feels incomplete, in every night that ends with silence louder than their thoughts. Your ex cried yesterday because the truth is undeniable: you were never just a chapter, you were the whole book they cannot finish. You were the fire that warmed them, and now they are left in the cold of their own mistakes. They know you are moving forward, and it terrifies them. They know you are no longer where they left you, and it shatters them. And so, their tears are the only proof left that love does not vanish just because someone walks away. So hear this, not as gossip, not as a random story, but as a divine reminder: sometimes people only realize your worth when silence becomes unbearable. And yesterday, your ex's silence shattered into tears, because your memory is carved deeper in their heart than they ever admitted. Yesterday's tears were not just drops of sorrow, they were confessions written in water. Your ex wasn't only crying for what is gone, they were crying for what can never return. They held their face in their hands and whispered your name into the air as if the walls could carry it back to you. They thought time would heal them, but time only made your absence more permanent, more powerful. They remembered the smallest things: your way of speaking, the way you touched their hand without words, the way you laughed when life felt heavy. These details, once ignored, now sting sharper than any wound. They are not crying because they miss a lover, they are crying because they miss a home. And you, whether you accept it or not, were that home. Do you understand the weight of that? Their tears mean they are standing in a house full of people yet feeling alone, lying on a bed yet feeling restless, holding everything they once wanted yet feeling empty. Because without you, nothing carries meaning. Without you, their victories feel shallow. Without you, their nights feel endless. Listen closely, This is the secret their tears carried yesterday. They finally see your value. They finally see the difference between what they wanted and what they needed. They wanted freedom, but they needed you. They wanted adventure, but they needed your peace. They wanted distraction, but they needed your presence. And now that realization has struck them, their heart cannot stop bleeding out the truth. Your ex was crying yesterday not because they lost you, but because they lost themselves when they lost you. And no matter how much they try to cover it with smiles, the tears always return when night comes. Their soul knows they walked away from the one person who truly saw them, who truly loved them, who truly mattered. And here is where the story becomes powerful. Sometimes life lets people taste emptiness so they understand the fullness they once rejected. Yesterday's tears were not weakness, they were the price they are paying for not valuing what heaven gave them. What they could not say with their mouth yesterday spilled out through their tears. Behind those tears hides a confession they never told anyone. They once told the world they were strong without you, they told their friends they had moved on, they told themselves they didn't care. But yesterday the mask fell. Alone in the quiet, their soul confessed the truth, they are still tied to you. They were crying because they remembered the day they let you go, and how they thought they were choosing freedom. But freedom without you feels like a prison. They thought someone else would fill the gap, but no one ever did. They thought time would erase you, but every day only carved your name deeper into their heart. Inside those tears is the regret they never spoke. The regret that they didn't fight for you. The regret that they didn't listen when you gave your heart. The regret that pride made them walk away when love was begging them to stay. And now, years or months later, the memory of that decision keeps haunting them like a shadow they cannot escape. Do you feel the weight of that? Your ex cried yesterday because their heart still belongs to you, but their pride never allowed them to admit it. They replay the moments you smiled at them, they replay the times you held them, they replay the words you spoke that no one else will ever speak again. And each replay is a dagger. Each replay is a reminder that love does not vanish, it waits in silence, it aches in the dark, it shouts through tears. Their secret is this: they are still in love. Even if they hide it, even if they never say it, their tears told the truth. Because tears are language the heart speaks when words fail. And yesterday, their heart spoke louder than their pride ever did. So stay with me, because this is not just a story of pain, this is a story of awakening. Sometimes the soul has to break before it can understand what it was meant to hold. Yesterday your ex broke, and in that breaking, they saw your face again, not as a memory, but as the missing piece of their life. When their eyes finally closed, thinking sleep would silence the ache, it only betrayed them. Because dreams are honest, dreams carry the pieces we hide, and in their dream last night, you were there. Not as a stranger, not as someone from the past, but as if you never left. They saw you walking toward them, your smile brighter than the room they cried in, your presence heavier than the silence they live with. They reached out to hold you, but the dream broke, and they woke up with tears still on their face. It wasn't the first time. For days now, every time they close their eyes, you return. Sometimes you are laughing, sometimes you are distant, sometimes you just look at them without saying a word. And every time, they wake up shaken, because the dream feels more real than the life they are living. Their heart whispers, if this is a dream, why does it feel like truth? Yesterday, their crying was not just about regret in the day, but about the visions that won't let them sleep at night. In those dreams, they remember how safe they felt with you, how your touch calmed storms inside them, how your presence was a prayer they never understood until it was gone. The dreams keep repeating one truth: they lost something no one else can replace. Stay close to this thought: the mind forgets what it wants, but the soul remembers what it needs. Their soul is remembering you. Their soul is calling for you in every tear, in every dream, in every restless night. That is why they are breaking down, because even when they try to escape, the night delivers your name back into their heart. Their imagination is their punishment and their salvation. By day, they imagine what life would have been if they never walked away. Imagine a home where laughter never ended. Imagine a journey where love was still alive. Imagine your hands still in theirs. And by night, the dreams force them to face it all, reminding them of a truth they cannot erase: you are still the one their heart cannot forget. Behind every tear they shed yesterday, there was a prayer their lips could not speak out loud. When they cried into their pillow, their heart was whispering words they never dared to say in daylight. In the stillness of night, they folded their hands not to the world, but to the sky, and begged silently, "Bring them back to me, even just in a moment, even just in a dream, let me feel them once more." These were not prayers of pride, not prayers of a person who wants to win, but prayers of someone broken, realizing too late what their soul has lost. Every drop of their tears was like a letter sent upward, carrying your name in it, carrying memories of what you gave them, carrying regrets of what they failed to protect. They were praying for another chance, not for another life, not for another lover, but for the chance to look into your eyes and say the one truth they always avoided: I still love you. They prayed that somehow destiny would bend, that somehow the universe would conspire to let paths cross again, that somehow the silence between you would turn into conversation once more. Do you understand the weight of such a prayer? It is not spoken in churches or temples, it is not written in books or messages, it is carved directly from a heart in pain. And hearts do not lie when they break. Yesterday, your ex's heart prayed for you. Their tears became their offering, their regrets became their confession, their silence became their plea. And in that moment, they realized something deeper: they are not only crying because of the past, they are crying because of the future they fear. A future where you are happy without them, where you are loved by someone else, where you are building the life they once dreamed with you. That thought crushes them more than the past ever did, and so their prayer became desperate: God, please don't let them forget me. Remember this: when a heart cries out to the heavens with your name, it is not ordinary. It means you have left a mark too deep to erase, a presence too divine to replace. Yesterday, their tears turned into prayers, and those prayers had only one subject: you. When the morning came, they wiped their face, hid the swollen eyes, and stepped into the world as if nothing had happened. To others, they looked fine. They laughed at jokes, nodded in conversations, carried on with their work. But what nobody could see was the storm raging beneath the surface. Because behind every smile they wear in public, there's a heart still aching for you. Your ex has mastered the art of pretending. They pretend they have moved on, they pretend life is full, they pretend their nights are peaceful. But inside, they are crumbling. Their mind replays your voice when the room gets quiet. Their chest feels heavy every time they see something that reminds them of you. Even a song on the radio, even a familiar street, even the scent of something you once liked, it all pierces them like a silent blade. They sit at lunch with friends and laugh, but in their heart, they remember the way you once shared food with them. They go shopping and buy clothes, but every outfit reminds them of the way you once admired them. They scroll through their phone and see the world moving on, but deep down, they wait for one notification, one message, one sign, from you. Their daily life has become a performance. And performances are exhausting. That's why the moment they are alone, the mask falls off, the silence grows loud, and the tears return. Yesterday was not the first time, they've been crying more often than they admit. But yesterday was the breaking point. Yesterday was the moment they could no longer hide it from themselves. Do you see the truth, my friend? They may fool the world, but they cannot fool their heart. Their heart knows where it belongs, their soul knows who it longs for, their spirit knows who once made them whole. The struggle of their day is pretending to be free, while the reality of their night is confessing they are still chained to the memory of you. This is why they are restless, why they cannot escape, why their heart still bleeds silently even when the world believes they are healed. Yesterday's tears were only the surface, what lies beneath is a daily war between pride and love. And in that war, love is winning, because every thought, every breath, every silent ache still points back to you. When the tears refused to stop, when their chest felt heavy with every breath, they finally spoke to themselves in a voice so low, it sounded more like a confession than a thought. Why did I let them go? Those were the words that slipped from their lips. Simple words, but heavy enough to crush them. They sat in the corner of their room, face buried in their hands, whispering to no one but the shadows. I ruined it. I broke the only thing that was pure in my life. Each word cut them deeper, because for the first time they admitted what pride had always hidden. It was their choice, their mistake, their silence that built this distance. Their guilt is not about the fights, not about the disagreements, it's about the way they ignored your worth. They replay the moments when you begged for their time, when you asked for understanding, when you offered them love without conditions. And in their memory, they see themselves turning away, distracted, careless, blind. That memory burns them more than any fire could. Yesterday, their tears carried this guilt. The guilt of not protecting the one who truly cared. The guilt of giving up too soon. The guilt of letting pride speak louder than love. They whispered, if I could go back, I would do everything differently. Over and over, the same line escaped their lips. And each time they said it, more tears fell, as if the universe itself was answering, but you cannot go back. Understand this, when someone breaks down in guilt, it is not weakness, it is truth surfacing. Yesterday, your ex's truth surfaced. They know they failed you. They know they lost not just a partner, but their safe place, their anchor, their mirror. And that realization is tearing them apart. Their guilt has become their shadow. It follows them everywhere. In the mirror, they see it in their tired eyes. In the silence, they hear it in their thoughts. In their dreams, they feel it in their heart. And yesterday, the guilt grew too heavy, so it poured out in tears they could no longer hide. Beneath their guilt hides something sharper, something they can't admit even to themselves: jealousy. Yesterday, as tears rolled down, their mind replayed one haunting thought: what if someone else is now holding the hand that once belonged to me? That single imagination broke them more than the silence ever could. They pictured you laughing with another soul, the way you once laughed with them. They imagined someone else listening to your secrets, someone else calming you when life felt heavy, someone else becoming your safe place. And that vision tore through them like lightning. Because deep down, they know the truth: if someone else has entered your life, they are tasting a love that was once theirs, and they let it slip away. Their jealousy is not loud. They won't shout it, they won't tell anyone. But inside, it burns like fire. It keeps them restless, keeps them awake, keeps them drowning in thoughts they cannot silence. They scroll through memories, they replay old pictures in their head, and fear whispers to them: what if I am too late? What if they no longer need me? This is why their tears yesterday were different. They weren't just crying for what they lost, they were crying for what they may never get back. They were crying because love doesn't just ache when it's gone, it screams when it imagines being replaced. And yesterday, their hearts screamed. Do you see the weight of that, my friend? They are not only haunted by the past, they are terrified of your present. They are jealous of even the possibility of someone else standing where they once stood. And that jealousy, mixed with regret, has become poison they drink every single day. So yesterday's tears carried not only guilt but also fear: the fear that your smile now belongs to another, the fear that your heart has healed in someone else's arms, the fear that destiny has already closed the chapter where their name was written next to yours. And in that fear, they whispered to themselves, trembling, I can't lose them completely. Not like this. After the jealousy faded into silence, a heavier truth pressed down on them: the emptiness of their own life. Yesterday, while their tears stained the pillow, they looked around at everything they thought would make them happy. The room, the lights, the new faces, the distractions. Yet none of it filled the hollow space inside. It was in that moment they admitted, I have everything, but without them, I have nothing. They broke down because life without you has become noise without meaning. The laughter of others feels shallow, the nights out feel empty, the achievements feel weightless. They thought success would heal the absence, they thought new love would erase old love, they thought time would close the wound. But instead, everything only reminded them of what cannot be replaced: you. In the middle of their breakdown, they pressed their chest with both hands, as if trying to hold their heart together, whispering to themselves, why do I still feel this way? Why can't I let them go? And the answer came in silence: because you were never just a person in their life, you were their calm, their anchor, their place of peace. Without you, they realized, their world is louder but lonelier. Without you, their bed is bigger but colder. Without you, their days are busier but emptier. And yesterday, the weight of that reality crushed them so deeply that their tears carried more than regret, they carried surrender. They surrendered to the truth they always ran from: you were their real peace. Not the noise, not the distractions, not the temporary faces. You. The one who made the world feel safe, who made silence feel sweet, who made life feel worth living. And losing that peace has turned their days into chaos, their nights into prisons, their heart into a battlefield. Yesterday's breakdown was not weakness, it was revelation. A revelation that no matter how far they go, no matter how much they pretend, their soul still knows the truth. Peace left when you left. And without you, nothing feels whole. Yesterday, after the storm of tears, after the guilt, the jealousy, and the silence, something happened inside them: acceptance. For the first time, they stopped lying to themselves. They looked in the mirror, their eyes swollen, their voice trembling, and whispered the truth they had buried for so long: my life is incomplete without them. This was not just a passing thought. It was a breaking point. They accepted that all the distractions, all the people, all the noise around them were only bandages over a wound that never healed. They realized that no matter how far they try to run, every road leads back to the memory of you. And yesterday, they confessed it openly, even if only to themselves. They said, I was foolish. I had everything I needed when I had them. And I lost it. And no matter what I gain now, it doesn't feel enough. Because without them, my story is unfinished. Those words tasted bitter, but they were real. And realness hurts more than any lie. Their acceptance was not about weakness, it was about clarity. They saw, clearly and painfully, that you were not just part of their life, you were the thread holding everything together. Without you, their joy unravels, their days lose color, their future feels heavy. And yesterday, they could no longer deny it. So they sat still, their tears drying on their face, whispering softly like a confession, I still love them. I never stopped. And I never will. And that was their final truth. The truth behind every tear, every restless night, every forced smile. The truth they had hidden from the world, but could not hide from their own soul. Yesterday, they finally accepted it: their life is incomplete without you, and their heart still beats your name.